Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're joining us today. We're happy to have you here for the next chapter of Supply Chain Orchestration. My name is Philipp Wüst, the SAP Signavio process mining expert, and I'm joined today by
Vittorio Cutroni. I'm the innovation lead for the planning practice.
And Vittorio will help me not only take the process analysis findings from SAP Signavio, but also turning them into actions to really tackle our supply chain issues. So, imagine this. We've all been there, having a rough day in supply chain. First, let's meet our actors. We have our supply chain manager, Jean, who wants to increase her supply chain efficiency. She wants to facilitate cross-function collaboration, and she wants to reduce the total supply chain costs. And secondly, there's our analyst, Peter, sales and operations process analyst, who wants to balance supply and demand, improve the forecast accuracy, and optimize the inventory levels. To meet her goals, Jean is continuously observing her supply chain process performance. For this, she uses SAP Signavio Process Insights, with dashboards observing her key process flows, her metrics, her KPIs, and her graphs. And keeping track of stock movement, stock levels, over and under stocking. With SAP Signavio Process Insights, you can gain quick insights into supply chain performance through pre-built analysis. You can detect inefficiencies and identify high-impact areas for improvement and cost reduction, including finance, sales, and our supply chain planning. And you can track and optimize end-to-end businesses and operational KPIs. Our company is not only using SAP Signavio Process Insights. No. We're utilizing the whole Signavio suite, the almost perfect setup to meet supply chain excellence. When we start at the top, we have SAP Signavio Process Manager and the Collaboration Hub, where we can access SAP best practices and process houses. Here we can quickly find the sub best practices and the cleanest processes for our supply chain excellence. On the left, we have our process analysis modules, SAP Signavio Process Insights and Process Intelligence, which offer the tailored process analysis dashboards for your metrics, for your KPIs, and for your graphs. And on the right, we're looking at SAP Signavio Process Governance with its rigorous process frameworks and automations through sub-build. And in the background of it all is SAP Signavio Process AI, a generative AI which can be utilized for generative text-to-process modeling with a simple language model, for text-to optimization, where you can basically ask, okay, what is my issue? How can I fix it? And this is where Jean comes in. Jean takes a look at our Signavio Process AI and basically asks the question, what am I doing wrong in my supply chain? And the SAP Signavio Process AI gets to work. With its automated analysis, we are comparing business processes with SAP best practice libraries. We are making runtime analysis and simulate demand scenarios. And we are highlighting bottlenecks and process shortcomings. And the Process AI spits out its findings. Enlightened and happy, Jean is excited to take those findings and run to her analyst. But first, you always say thank you to your AI. So, Jean runs back to Peter and she says, I am seeing a lot of inefficiencies in my supply chain. Can you please analyze the planning process? To which Peter replies, of course, he will investigate. Peter, on the other hand, is not interested in the broad overview. He doesn't spend his days looking at process flows and at his metrics of lead to cash or make to stock. No, Peter is here for the details. Peter utilizes SAP Signavio Process Intelligence, where he is using process analysis dashboards to keep track of his S&OP process performance. In Process Intelligence, Peter is uncovering root causes of bottlenecks using process mining tools and process deviation analysis. He is identifying automation opportunities in repetitive tasks to improve efficiency, And Peter is visualizing and comparing workflows across multiple supply chains within the organization to standardize best practices. And again, in the background, we have our all-encompassing SAP Signavio Process AI. Utilizing the generative AI for our process mining analysis, we can use anomaly and deviation analysis for automated comparison of correlations, anomalies, and deviations between key metrics and data patterns. And automated root cause analysis, where it highlights how to reach a set target. So, Peter goes to ask, please run a root cause analysis on our forecast accuracy. So, the process AI goes to work. Running the automated root cause analysis, it is automatically segmenting the process cases and the pattern detection. It is running a hypothesis-free analysis with ranking of root causes, and it is highlighting correlations in visual drill downs. Of course, our process AI is then spitting out the findings, showing Peter exactly where his improvement potentials are lying. And as always, Peter says thank you.
Okay, so here we are with Pete. Pete is looking at IBP and is looking at the process model that they have built in IBP to track the activities of their S&OP process. He looks at the findings that have been actually reported. We have a low forecast accuracy and a higher number of activities that are performed in the system. Pete looks at the system and can actually see that the number of planning combinations has actually increased in the last 6 months. This is not a surprise for Pete because a last acquisition has actually increased the number of SKUs and therefore of planning combinations that the demand planners are actually requested to analyze and to review. Additionally, Pete has also identified a couple of users whose names are not familiar to him, where some activities seem to be performed more and more times in the system. He tries to contact them and identifies that they are actually new planners that are actually not that familiar with the process and its interdependencies. And this has brought to activities that are actually performed before and after these interdependencies. On the other side, Pete has also talked with a couple of more experienced demand planners, and they are complaining about the fact that there are a lot of manual steps, manual activities within the process that could actually be automatized. Planners are complaining that, for example, if they have a stable demand for some of the products, they still are required to input the statistical forecast or their sales plan. Additionally, Peter agrees with his colleagues. If the products have a stable demand, why should they input their sales plan if a statistical forecast can already generate a good enough demand plan? Let them focus on those combinations where more input is required or more analysis on the market and the different factors that affect it can actually generate a more complex scenario to be planned. So for sure, segmentation is actually something that could be useful. And Pete is aware that we also have a functionality in SAP IBP to analyze the sales history of the products and do some time series analysis. Through this time series analysis, we could identify which statistical forecast could actually better be used for those planning combinations. And this could allow to generate even a better demand plan or a better statistical forecast that then could drive more automatization. More automatization could reduce those manual activities from the planners and could allow them to focus on the ones that are more complex to plan. Pete then talked with Jean. He talks about his findings and he talks about the potential solutions that they could think of. They agree that the best thing to do is to classify their portfolio based on the value of the different products and SKUs and based on their product forecastability. In this way, they could try to identify combinations within which automatization of the process can actually be performed quite heavily, so letting the system generate the demand plan for the users, and other combinations that instead, because of their higher value and their higher unpredictability, will require more attention from the planners. Additionally, not all segments will actually require the same forecast accuracy. So they agreed that they could actually define some target forecast accuracy for the different segments as well. Jean and Pete continue talking about the proposed solutions. They have already used machine learning capabilities with the time series analysis within IBP. So why not using, for example, additional AI functionalities within SAP IBP? We could use, for example, the multivariate forecasting to consider internal and external factors in our demand plan and try to generate a demand plan in a more automatic way or with a better results using those external factors as well. On the other side, we should not forget about the people dimension itself as well. We remember those demand planners that are actually not following the process, or they are maybe not familiar with the process itself and its interdependencies. So they agree to set some trainings for the new demand planners. This will help the new joiners of the team to get familiar with the process, and on the other side, help the full team to be aware of the changes that they are introducing within the demand planning process. We meet Jean and Pete again after 6 months. As you can see, they are pretty happy and they look quite smiley. The reason behind is that they are already seeing the benefits of the actions that they have taken some months ago. First of all, the classification and the prioritization of the products has helped them to automatize some of the segments of their portfolio, and this has reduced the manual activities performed by the planners. On the other side, they have also improved the forecast accuracy because the planners that now had more time to analyze the complex combinations that required more market analysis or competition analysis has allowed them to spend this time in the market and adding more value in their inputs of the demand plan. This would have not been possible if not with SAP Signavio and SAP IBP. On one side, Process Insight and Process Intelligence has helped Pete and Jean to analyze the supply chain performances and perform some root cause analysis. On the other side, IBP has helped them to implement some planning functionalities that has helped them to achieve their planning excellence within the S&OP process. So thumbs up for Pete and Jean. Okay, so we thank you for participating in this session. I hope you liked our story and that you can really see the value of these SAP tools working together.
Thank you.